And this is Byrd. It's the Kirk and Byrd Show. We are here covering Prince William County football. And we're blessed to have with us today just professional journalist Justin Richards of Prince William County Sports and Entertainment. And then we've got everybody's favorite Jay Gholson, the godfather of Prince William County sports. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if anyone really considers me a professional, but Rusty, I appreciate it.
Jay was getting autographs signed at
let me put it this way.
I
think you're a professional. I think you're a professional, but let me tell you who's not a professional. That guy right there, Jay Gholson.
So everybody, we're going to talk about Prince William football, high school football in depth. All right. And everybody watching, do us a favor, take a few seconds and hit subscribe, helps us out. But let's get started. Let's talk about the past week. Got a big game at Patriot, champ shootout. And we want to talk about the past week. And then we'll get into reviewing the season and then transition into the playoffs. So, Jay, you and I were at the Patriot game. And it was nice to meet some people. But why don't we start with that shootout with Patrick Bryan and John Champ?
Patrick Bryan, I mean, that guy, he has a really quick release. He's in that shotgun. He goes to the left or to the right. It's like boom, boom, boom. And that's, I mean, he had 490 yards passing.
Yep.
490 yards passing. I mean, against a pretty decent defense. But Patriot, I mean, they let their guard down. They 42-7 in the beginning. They kind of slowed down. And team like Champ, you can't stop. You have to really just keep trying to score every time, because if you don't do that, they're going to come back.
Yep.
So, but Patrick Bryan, in my opinion, is a Division I quarterback. He has Division I talent. He is probably the best passer I have seen in a long time. Pure passer.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going places. I like him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What grade is he in?
He's a senior. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I were William & Mary or Old Dominion or James Madison, I would knock on this door, say, hey, let's, come on, let's go.
This is the time of year also that schools are starting to jockey. So he's got an offer from Norfolk State. And I've noticed that some of the kids that are committed to FCS schools are starting to get invites to Pitt, various schools, Wake Forest. I think someone will come in and offer him, because he's got that it factor. It doesn't matter how tall he is with like guys like Kyler Murray. But he's looking good. And then I thought Patriot, their skill players really surprised me, man. The quarterback and the running back were
I told Sam Fernandez, a couple of times, told his dad and his mom, the kid has to learn how to slide. He's not going to do it. He's like a linebacker. He runs, he just runs. He will not. He'll put the shoulder down and run into a DB or a linebacker. He will not slide. Now against Battlefield, talk about later on, but he's got to learn. He's got to throw more or slide or run out of bounds. Because he got hurt once this year. Like the kid, he's also a Division I talent. Whether it be a DB, a quarterback, receiver. But he's got to learn how to slide soon, because it's not going to last long lowering his shoulder.
Right.
Yeah.
Rusty and Jason, I wanted to get y'all's take on the remaining games, because if you look at the 8th seed, we're talking Garfield, Potomac, Freedom South Riding. All those teams are in a razor-thin margin. Osborne also. So there's a lot of jockey. Why don't we talk? What are the games this weekend, Jason and Rusty, that we ought to look out for?
But Woodbridge Garfield. That was the one.
That's the big one.
That's the one. I'm sorry.
Tomorrow night.
Woodbridge Garfield. Yeah, I had that. They're both 4 and 5. That's what it was.
Yep.
They're both 4 and 5.
That's a big game.
That's one I would definitely circle. I think Champ and Freedom South Riding, because it's a rivalry game. Those schools are around the corner from each other. And although Champ is good, Freedom South Riding plays that style of football where they can just kill the clock. Like, they can keep it out of the quarterback's hand by just running that style or single wing style of offense. And that would be because I would assume that Champ should win, and that would secure them the 4th seed. But do you really want the 4th seed? I mean,
Exactly.
the 4 or 5 will probably be Forest Park and Champ. But that second round matchup against Freedom could be tough. So I don't know.
Justin, what's your take? I mean, there's a couple other teams that are vying for playoff spots. I mean, only those teams I mentioned, only one's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
I picked Woodbridge, but obviously, the Champ Freedom South Riding could get in. So, what's your take, Justin, on that last spot?
On the last spot, well, you have Unity Region there as well. They're going to take on Osborne Park, so you got to think they're pretty safe there. Colgan, Woodbridge. I haven't seen Woodbridge in person this year. I have seen, it was Garfield Woodbridge. I have seen Garfield in person. I did their game against Forest Park. Their offense is capable of some good things. I like Max Gardner, especially as a receiver. If they can get the ball to him, he can really make things happen after he brings it down. So I'll go with Garfield over Woodbridge. But then, I'm going to go for a shameless plug here, since I do work for PW Sports. This game doesn't need plugging. We do have Patriot Battlefield, of course, Friday night. We'll be bringing you that game, so hope everyone will tune in. I know, Jay, we were talking beforehand saying, it's basically a scrimmage because they're going to play again likely in 2 weeks, but there's a lot of bragging rights. That is the rivalry in Western Prince William County. I think the kids are going to go all out. Whether the coaches want to go all out or not, that's another matter, but the kids certainly will. And with, the Red Nation, the Patriot fans, they always travel well. I've been at Battlefield for a basketball game when Patriot was there, and I was sitting over on the Patriot sideline. It was loud. So the Red Nation will bring it. But I'm going to take the home team. I'll take Battlefield in that one, 35-28.
Woo! Jay, which is that? The big game, and it's one of those are undefeated teams. We got some other big games. We're going to talk about the rest of the state, by the way. But who do you like there, Jay? Because you know both of those teams well.
See, Patriot, they were really good in the first half against John Champ. I mean, they were like Freedom of Woodbridge.
Yep.
And then you have, of course, you have great blocking by Brandon Koo, Cam Mahoney, Cole Serber, Braden Chandler, those guys. And on the Battlefield side, you have that one guy I just can't get out of my head, Caleb Woodson. I mean, he can just take over a game. And last year's game, he made a winning tackle on the 1 yard line to beat Patriot last year. I mean, I'm going to have to, I keep going back and forth, but I know San Fernandez is going to run the ball. He's going to run it to touchdowns and throw it. So I changed my mind. I'm going to go with Patriot this game, and in 1 and 2 weeks, a different story.
All right.
I've got a question. If you are Champ, okay, and you play Freedom, if you win, you will secure the 4th spot. But if you lose, you could drop to number 7. Would you rather drop to 7 and play, even though you play Patriot in the first round, instead of maybe having to be the 4 and then in the second round?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good point, Rusty.
Because Champ knows they can play with Patriot.
And Battlefield.
So
yeah,
they play Patriot and Battlefield in rounds 1 and 2.
I don't think they're going to tank. Because Jay,
I'm not saying tank. What I'm saying is, what do you see? If we let our starters maybe play a series or 2, let everybody else play, try to make sure nobody gets out of there injured. Would you consider? But I mean, that's just people like us talking, because they're not going to want to do that because they don't know that they can even beat Forest Park in the first round. I'm just saying, you never know.
I think if they played Forest Park, I think it would be a good competitive game, but I think Champ would come out on top.
Oh, I agree. But then is the second round something that you go, yeah.
But Forest Park, with those big linemen, will slow the game down against Champ. That's the key with Champ. If you slow the game down with Champ, you got it.
Yeah, but this is the problem. You could try to slow the game down, but if they get a decent sized lead, can Forest Park catch up?
No.
Like,
yeah, you're right.
So that like if it, look, I'm trying to kill the clock. But if there's a way the Champ gets up by 2 scores and they're so quick strike, bro, like it could be a wrap because Forest Park's they're going to be methodical. They could, if they go back and forth, and as long as they're within 2 touchdowns, they have a chance. But if it starts to get out of control, I just don't think,
Yeah, I can see that.
It's out of control. Seat your starters, but same thing with Patriot Battlefield. I mean, that's basically for home field advantage. So
is that really a home field advantage to go drive 3 miles to play? That's not home. Now going to Oscar Smith, that's home field advantage. But drive 3 miles down the street, yeah, you don't care.
They call it sandbagging in sales. It's when at the end of the quarter, you don't close deals because if they go in the next quarter.
Jay, where do brothers know and refer to sandbagging? You went to an HBCU. When you play in spades, that's all we know. It's when you play spades and somebody is sandbagging. That's right.
All right. So let me translate this. All right. If you can make money in the next round or the next quarter by not making, in other words, by resting in a game. So that's what you're talking about, Rusty. That's key is, Champ may want to think about that because they probably have more of an opportunity to beat Patriot rather than Freedom Woodbridge. But I think you don't take your foot off the pedal.
They wouldn't do that. And I'm saying that, but we're going to get feedback. Oh, you're crazy. But it's just something that you could consider. It depends on how the flow of the game is going. Like, do we, at some point, do we, back off? Anyway, I don't know. It'd just be something. It's what we do. It's what gas baggers do. Just come up with those.
Well, that's a good transition because we're already talking about the playoffs. So we seem to be talking about whether Freedom Woodbridge, who they're going to play. But then the big one is the 2-3 in the second round. However, what I want to ask you guys, any of those bottom 4 seeds have a chance, and we don't have the 8th seed established yet. Any of those guys have a chance at upsetting the first 4 seeds? I don't think so.
Yes. I would say Colonial Forge.
Upsetting the 2 team? Because they're 7th seed.
Colonial Forge has 2 players in the top 50 in the state of Virginia. They have a Hall of Fame coach as defensive coordinator in Bill Brown. And they know how. He's been to 3 state championships. He knows how to win. He knows how to come into a Patriot or a Battlefield. He just say, give him freedom. And he knows how to out-coach an opponent. I've been there. I've been on the sidelines with him. I played for him. I know what he can do. So he's one coach that I would, if I were Freedom Patriot Battlefield, Colonial Forge team is one team I would not want to play in the playoffs.
Okay.
What do you think? Reed did it last year.
Unity Reed was last year against
Patriot. They tripped up Patriot last year.
Yeah. There's always an upset. There's always an upset.
So based on what we with the standings right now, Colonial Forge, Unity Reed, and Forest Park are both 5-4. Are all 5-4. So their seeds are not set yet. Depending on who wins and who loses, is somebody 5-5, somebody 6-4. That whole really 4-8, we don't know yet.
Yep.
Yep.
I would say Garfield will beat Woodbridge because Woodbridge has quarterback issues. So I think Garfield will be number 8.
Yep.
In my opinion. Now 4 to 6, I have no idea. But 8, I would say Garfield will beat Woodbridge Thursday night.
Well, I don't think 5, 6, and 7 has
exactly 5, 6, or 7. Yes, yeah,
right.
Correct.
So we talked about champ, but I don't think 5, 6, or 7 has a game that those seeds are not favored to win. But all right, so you got You've got Colonial Forge. Anybody else like Freedom? I don't see Freedom losing the first round game. So you've got Forest Park, which will be Patriot Battlefield. I mean, we've got like that. I mean, pretty much okay. And then what about the third seed going after the 6th team, which is going to be Unity Reed or one of those teams? I don't think that team will lose.
Unity Reed has athletes.
Yeah.
And athletes can, come in there and take over a game and upset a good team. So you can't rule out Unity Reed to pull like last year, just like last year against Patriot. That surprised me, but yeah, to me, Unity Reed could pull an upset.
Okay.
They certainly are capable. I don't think it'll happen, but it's also not out of the realm of possibility.
Right. You have Amari Campbell as a linebacker. You never know.
That's true. He's not the whole team, though. So
one player like him, like Ricky Slade for Hilton years ago, one player can take over a game and dominate.
All right.
Middle linebacker and running back, 2 positions that can happen.
Let me ask you something. With we have some we have rivalry games, so you never know. A Freedom South Riding could beat Champ, or Woodbridge could beat Garfield. But do we think? First of all, we're assuming 1, 2, and 3 will advance, but are they all healthy? I know, Sam Fernandez had some health issues and missed some games. I know Battlefield's quarterback, there was some issues a couple of weeks ago. But are they relatively healthy, those top 3 seeds? Because that could play a big factor.
They are right now, but like I said on Facebook, on Princeton County Board, if I'm the coach of Patriot or coach of Battlefield and my quarterbacks have been hurt and out, I would not rule out, hey, no quarterback draws. Let's just come out healthy. No, just pass it. And maybe 4th quarter, hey, sit down. That's just me. I've been around coaches who have done that. But you're right. Those 2 guys have not been healthy. Boggs and Fernandez have not been healthy all year. And this game here, yeah, it's a rivalry. Yeah. Haymarket versus Nokesville, but my thing is playoffs. That's more important. It's the playoffs, not just a championship for the district. I mean, I'm thinking big. I'm thinking long term. If I'm a coach.
Okay. So let me. We talked about this on another episode, and it's not Prince William or this region, but so with that same thought process, what do you think about the big game this weekend of Phoebus versus Smith? And I can say that game because it will impact 2 teams. It could definitely impact whether Freedom has to travel or not. And we don't know the impact it could have on points for Brentsville. Whether Brentsville has to travel or not.
No, Brentsville is so low on points versus Phoebus because Brentsville had a very light schedule.
Yep.
Yeah, so Phoebus can lose the game on Saturday and still will be number 1 seed.
Yeah, that's probably especially even if they lose to Oscar Smith, who would be undefeated. That's true. So, but what? So let me ask you this though. My thoughts on the Phoebus Oscar Smith game when we had the 2 Anthonys on, I talked about the potential for injuries, and they just looked glared over no, we're ballers. That's not an issue.
I saw that,
and I'm like, are you serious? Okay, we're giving you guys some credence, we're being experts, but it's not just we're ball. Then I see some people were on Facebook, like my man Randy Pearson, who's been on the show. He brought up the topic of injuries. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the game. I just wish it was 6 weeks ago.
Well, here's the deal. If I was Phoebus, to me, this is a scrimmage. Because if I win or lose, I'm the number 1 seed through the whole playoffs. Smith, on the other hand, they have to win because you don't want to come to Freedom for a state semifinals. You want to stay at home. So for point-wise, it's like Freedom has 34.8 for Freedom. Smith has 35.2 points. It's that close. So for Smith, they have to win this game if they want to host. all 4 playoff games.
Well, here's the thing, Jay. If Oscar Smith loses, they'll lose the number 1 seed in their region and have to go on the road in the second round to now Thomas Dale faces Varina. That's I like Varina in that one, but the other one is Western Branch is still in play. So Western Branch could host Oscar Smith, which is going into your question, Rusty.
No, they would.
A big game.
I don't think they would. Western Branch would get to host Oscar Smith because head-to-head, Oscar Smith beat Western Branch.
But it's power rankings.
Power rankings.
Yeah, it's power rankings. That's not a tiebreaker like the NFL. But
yeah.
That's so it goes back to what you said, Rusty. Do you want to play the game? If the game is close, that's going to be a battle. Nobody's taking their foot off of the pedal. However, if there's an injury or something to a key player, I think the coaches may have to say, hold on, let's save ourselves. But
that can happen too. That can happen. If you get an injury, okay, let's stop. Everybody sit down. First team come out. Yeah, that could happen.
So we saw that Freedom jumped Oscar Smith in the power ratings this week, and Oscar Smith has a better schedule than Freedom Woodbridge, so that's very interesting. And if they beat Phoebus, will they jump Oscar? Or will they jump Freedom? That's a big one, and that's another one. That's why they should play.
Yeah, they will, because Phoebus is 9-0, and you be a 9-0 team that gives you a lot of points.
Yep.
And Freedom played Hilton, and Hilton was 0-8 or 0-9, whatever. So yeah, you get very little points beating a winless team.
I think it's more consequential for Oscar Smith.
Yeah. Oh, it is big time for them. They don't want to look. You said, yeah, Thomas Dale, that's right there. And you have Western Branch, which is right there for points. And yeah, you want home field advantage.
Even if Phoebus loses, they should not have a road game because
they will have a road game. Yeah, you're right.
They have a better power rating than Brentsville.
Yeah.
And
but Lake Taylor only has 1 loss, right?
Yes, that's a good point. So
and that's Kamari.
They could go to they could go. Good point. In the third round, they could have to go to Lake Taylor. So, good one. Well, how about the rest of the state? Stacked with great games. I mean, we could talk like 7 games. Dinwiddie is playing. So Thomas Dale's playing Varina, and Dinwiddie. Help me out here. Dinwiddie's got a big one. 2 undefeated teams, but that's a big game with Dinwiddie. And that's going to have some seeding effect. And then we've got Fairfax West Springfield. We've got Lake Braddock is facing South County.
Wow.
Some big games. Any predictions? I like Fairfax to come out of that, but it's wide open in Fairfax County.
I don't get to see just following Prince William County, and I do other sports as well. I haven't gotten to see a whole lot out of Fairfax County, but everyone's been raving about Fairfax High School. I've heard a lot of good things about that program this year.
Yeah. Now, in my opinion, I would have Fairfax as the number 1 team to be in the state championship for Fairfax County. However, Madison High School, who was 0-3, they're now number 1 seed.
Yeah, they're 6-3. Yeah.
Yeah, but they were 0-3.
Yep.
And so Madison, you never know. Teams. I mean, I know I'm showing my age, but I know 1977 Garfield was 0-3, and they were in the state championship and lost to Hampton. So you never know these teams that go 0-3.
Anybody could come out of that region. Westfield could come out of that region.
Yeah. Well, I saw Westfield play against Whitbridge in a scrimmage. It was only scrimmage. I know. But Westfield, they have. I'm sorry, Westfield crowd. You have no ballers.
What about Centerville? Preseason.
Centerville, they're good.
I was a big
Centerville's
fan
good.
of what Centerville's doing.
Yeah, Centerville's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, whoever comes out of that side is going to be.
I never liked to count out South County. My boy Jordan Dennis is the QB there. QB1 led us to the Fairfax County Championship in youth football. So South County, they can't look past them. Like, they won the state championship, beating Oscar Smith 3 years ago, and they if they put it together, I think they could be a threat. We'll see. They're not the South County a few years ago, but they've got some of those key pieces. We'll see.
So since we're talking about the playoffs, so the real question is in 6, and we'll go to 5, but in 6, can the winner of those 2 Northern Virginia regions beat the Freedom Oscar Smith winner?
Hell no.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm going to say it. Yeah, I think this is a year. Like, I don't know if Madison was a great representative of how quality some of the teams can be coming out of Fairfax. If you look back over the last, 15 years, Fairfax teams were winning most of the Division VI championships, and they have really strong programs in Westfield, Centerville, South County, Lake Braddock, Robinson. I think that definitely this year a Fairfax team has a really good chance, depending on the matchup. I don't know if they can beat Freedom, but I'm not. If Oscar Smith survives the Freedom game, they may go down. We'll see. To me, it's about the matchups.
Right.
Rusty, one thing I've learned in my years is one phrase: speed kills. And there's no way a Fairfax County team, what I've seen, can beat a Freedom of Whitbridge, Oscar Smith, a Thomas Dale, Western Branch. No, that's not going to happen. In the old days, 15 years ago, in those days, it was Fairfax versus Prince William County in the beginning, in the semifinals. So they were battle tested. Right. Now you're playing only Fairfax County teams, and that's it. And then you're in a state championship playing the best team in the state, whether it's Prince William or Norfolk or Richmond. No, they're not battle tested.
You clearly have not learned. You said something you've learned. Let me tell you what you didn't learn. Stonebridge beat Maury in the state finals.
Well, okay.
Stonebridge, I would not say that they have athletes, but compared to Maury's speed, clearly they
I don't think that's a good example. Maury got
let me say this. Stonebridge beat Highland Springs and Maury back to back. Why didn't you learn from that? You're going back. I've learned over 15 years. You haven't learned in 11 months, bro. You haven't learned.
I'm just saying, one that would say this. You can't compare Loudoun County kids to Fairfax County kids. That's all I'm going to say.
What do you mean by that?
Loudoun County kids are good. They're athletes out there.
Okay. I thought that's what you were saying. So yeah, that's a good one with 5. All right. So Highland Springs is going to have to play the winner of the Maury Green Run, and I don't see Maury Green Run. Those seeds will hold. And then I also see Highland Springs they're destined to the state semifinals. Can anybody knock off Stonebridge? So you've got some teams there. You got Mountain View. I like Stonebridge. I think they're really clicking now. So I think this Maury Green Run, and by the way, that's a coin flip. So my question is, can anybody beat Highland Springs, and which of the regions is most likely to not hold seats?
So,
Justin, you go first.
I just want to say this. Yes, there are teams that can beat Stonebridge. If you look back just a couple of weeks ago, don't forget about Mountain View. Like, they have some athletes. They lost to a Stafford team in Colonial Forge, but Mountain View, we see, a team gets a loss and they kind of go off our radar. I think a Mountain View can beat Stonebridge, and I think Mountain View they have some of the athletes to play with Highland Springs. I don't think they would beat them because Highland Springs is on a mission and they're loaded, but it's one of those you just never know.
Well, this weekend, they play Riverbend, so you're going to get a great interview.
Mountain View will not beat Riverbend.
Okay. Mountain View, did you hear that?
Riverbend is a good team. They lost to Freedom because 4 or 5 players were suspended for that game. Mm-hmm. So Riverbend will beat Mountain View. However, nobody will beat Highland Springs for Division 5.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this. If Mountain View, because Riverbend are they 4 or 5?
They're 5.
They're fine. But if one of them, Riverview or Mountain View, is at home, like we don't know that Stonebridge is going to have home field because they all have like one loss.
Stonebridge is the number one seed. They have an insurmountable lead, and there's no way they're going to lose to Indy.
Stonebridge.
Stonebridge has they're one or two, but they're going to win. They're going to win.
But I'm saying, no. My point is this: Mountain View or Riverbend losing, that would only be their one of them that wins will only still just have one loss, just like Stonebridge. The winner of that game, I haven't seen the points.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think Stonebridge should be the number one seed.
Yeah, they did that because they had a very tough schedule. So yeah, Stonebridge will be number one seed.
Okay.
They played Freedom, they played Madison, they played Centerville. So yeah, Stonebridge will be the number one seed.
But if Riverbend beats Mountain View and if Riverbend and South Stonebridge both lost to Freedom, that cancels each other out. But they also have those. So we'll see. Look, the question was, can somebody beat Stonebridge? And I say yes.
All right.
Yeah. Highland Springs.
No, we're talking about in the region.
Okay.
Keep saying Mountain View or Riverbend. So for the other regions, we'll go to 4. I don't think anybody can test Maury. However, I think Kempsville could test Green Run.
I'm not sold on Maury at all.
Oh.
Yep.
I think over Maury, I have Green Run and Kempsville.
Oh.
Well, only one of those can come out though for Green Kempsville.
Right. Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
So we got you. Justin's saying let's not forget 3. Well, let's go to 4. All right. So in 4, we got the defending state champion Varina playing Highland Springs this weekend. Game's already sold out, by the way.
Wow.
And so I don't see them beating Highland Springs, but I do like Varina. So Varina is in the same region as Dinwiddie. And I still can't think of who Dinwiddie plays this weekend, but they play somebody.
Dinwiddie's playing Thomas Dale.
Right. Thomas Dale, Division 6 team. Those are big, huge games. So in 4, we've got, I like Kings Fork coming out of that area to play Dinwiddie, Varina. I like Varina. And then you've got Loudoun County up here, who's undefeated. Very, very solid team. I like Tuscarora to win that. And then you've got the other regions. So anybody see a break in Kings Fork winning that region as well as Varina? Like I said, Varina and Dinwiddie, that's a shame that those guys are in the same region.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with Kings Fork.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Does Kings Fork have a shot of beating whoever wins that Varina, the quarterfinal, which would be Varina and Dinwiddie? Does anybody have can Kings Fork get past them? Because I've heard Kings Fork can.
I don't think they can beat Varina. No.
You're assuming Varina's gonna. I like Varina also, Jay.
Yeah.
All right. So Tuscarora could be in the state championship, which should be interesting.
They had a good schedule. They played Colonial Forge, so they played some good teams. Tuscarora. So yeah, I mean they're also it might be very legit.
Yeah.
So okay, let's go to 3 because we have a Prince William County school. That's 3. Brentsville 9-1. They made it to the state semifinals.
You froze
now
up.
they will have the first 3 games will be at home for Brentsville. I think every team they play, luckily, will have a losing record.
Yeah, realistically, there's no one in 3B who's going to challenge Brentsville.
Nope.
I mean, yeah, we talk about upsets happen. And if you look at what's probably going to happen, Brentsville will pretty easily get through the first 3 games. They likely won't have a challenge until, you would assume they would play Phoebus in the state semifinal. And just looking at what Phoebus has done this year, they've allowed 20 points in 9 games.
Woo.
Brentsville would have to go on the road to Phoebus. And I think that would just be, I love what they're doing at Brentsville. I love going there. Doing the games there is great. It's always just a tremendous atmosphere. I love what Coach Lauren White's done. I don't see them going on the road and beating Phoebus.
Would be a huge upset. Would be great for that program if they did. I don't see it either. And by the way, of those 20 points, 2 of those touchdowns were kickoff returns. The defense has only given up 6 points.
Here's my question. Here's my question, though. How many players returned from Brentsville's team last year versus Phoebus's players that came back from last year to this year?
Justin, talk to us about Brentsville, because I can address Phoebus.
Well, Brentsville, I mean, Caleb Alexander is the straw that stirs the drink offensively. But of course, you had Tyler Nix win Player of the Year last year as an offensive lineman. I mean, that almost never happens.
As a junior.
Yeah.
So Brentsville, I mean, to me, they you know, if I had to bet my house on that game, I would pick Phoebus. But that may not be a blowout like it was last year, because it's the same players for Brentsville almost, except for that one running back, Bryce
Jackson. Yeah, he graduated.
Yeah, that's really. I mean, yeah, they had really the same players going down there. So
Brentsville has some players with experience. They were playing some younger guys last year, and I think, you know, I don't think them advancing that far, that was a first for that program. I don't think they'll be as maybe intimidated. I think if Coach White can come up with just the right game strategy, you know, I think, look, Phoebus was dominant last year. But look, and this is what I was saying to Rob on our show. Outside of last year, Phoebus couldn't get it done. Like, they were losing to teams that I was going, you're in Division III. Why aren't you winning state championships? You know, so clearly they were losing to teams like a Lafayette. Like, they would lose to teams that did not have speed or did not have the same pedigree. Look, I think Phoebus has a lot, but to me, just like Brentsville, they haven't really. And I love the Peninsula District, but they haven't been tested.
Well, I mean, but it took Bill D 15 years to win a state championship. And Rusty, he had some teams that were the best, like the 87 team that lost to Cortland. He had a number of teams, the Womack teams. And there were some upsets in that line. I agree with. They lost to Heritage, I believe, in the state finals. And then they barely beat Pocosin one year. They've gotten knocked out by Hopewell. But I think they've righted the ship. And talking about, they lost their quarterback. I think he got an academic scholarship to UVA. Kid had an unbelievable. But they have a replacement quarterback who's a 3-year starter for Nansom and River. And then they lost Kamari Gray, who's doing well at Hampton. I think they're fine at receiver. Jordan Bass is tearing it up. And then,
he's a man. He's a man of the boys.
Phoebus is better this year. And we're going to find out on Saturday with Oscar.
All I'm saying is they're still kids. They still are human. And it's not like they won 12. Look, what's the school? River something. Riverheads. Single A. Like, we never talk about them, but they put together 7 in a row, 6 or 7 state championships. I don't know anything about them, but clearly, like, they're getting it done. Phoebus hasn't gotten it done.
Well, they won a state championship last year. They got 8 state titles. I understand what you're saying, because how long has it been? It's been 10, 11, I think 11 years. But like we said, things go in cycles. So, and who's to say that Riverhead's team could not beat, Phoebus? I mean, we don't have.
I don't know.
We don't have a thing.
Good coaching and players being healthy, and also having situations like, if you've never been in a close game, how do you react?
Well, Phoebus is going to have a close game. Brentsville's the one that, they lost a game, so that's a good one. But, yeah, I see this holding, Liberty Christian out in the West, and I believe it's Salem that's also Division III. They may be 4. I'm sorry, I don't have those up, but so we've covered the whole state. So for our viewers, we're going to have a lot of Prince William County. But we've also covered, Northern Virginia, Richmond, Southwest Virginia. Patrick Henry Roanoke is going to be a tough out in Division 5 also. They got a guy going to Penn State. But so we talked about wrapping up with this, and that is, who's the player of the year in the region, the Freedom, Battlefield, Patriot, Champ? And Jay, you put a poll up. So, so I know who you like. Justin, I want to get your take. So we've got the Overton kid, the tailback, who I like the most. I'd say maybe Patrick Bryan, but who do we like for Player of the Year?
Well, offensively, I mean, it's really close between Tristan Evans and Jeffrey Overton. I really like what Tristan has done this year. There was some question, whether or not he could shoulder the load for a full season for Freedom. Clearly, he's been more than capable of doing that. 41 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But I'm going to go with Jeffrey Overton, that almost 1,600 rushing yards and 22 rushing touchdowns. And then Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go to the other side of the county. I like Caleb Woodson. Mm-hmm. If you're able to get a completion against him, you're not going to get many yards after the catch. He's going to put you to the ground right away. He can get up and stop the run. He can get up and blitz and pressure the quarterback. He can do it all on the defensive side of the ball. I
like TJ Bush.
Same here. Offense for me, I have Jeff Overton on offense. And defense, I have a tie between TJ Bush and Caleb Woodson. A regional Player of the Year.
Okay.
What do you think, Rusty?
I'm leaning towards Tristan Evans. I think Overton was a freshman last year, but he was doing work. So we knew about him. he's a great player, but for Tristan to step up after having a little playing time as a freshman and lead this team, I'd go with him. And then on the defensive side, I love TJ Bush. And so he has really gotten an opportunity to display his skills, because you can't just double and triple team him. And this is giving credit to the rest of his defensive line linebackers. Like you can try to. Still most high school kids beat a double team. Right. But I think to me, one of the things that's most impressive is we see Freedom score a lot of points, but their defense is amazing and should get even more credit. And when you're led by TJ Bush, but people thought the question for Freedom this year was going to be linebackers, and they put that to rest in that scrimmage against DeMatha. So, Smith is known for saying we don't rebuild, we reload. Well, Freedom has certainly done it, and they had they lost some great linebackers last year. I know Jabril. I had the pleasure of coaching him in track, but they just reloaded, man. And so, I'm kind of biased on TJ Bush because I know him and he's a good kid, but I think that defense and him being the leader, and then that offense is, they put up 100 points, and the quarterback led that.
So at this point, we got a lot of players listening. Hey, do us a favor, subscribe to an Old Man podcast, and also follow us on Twitter, because we're going to be announcing all this stuff. It's at the Kirk and Byrd, no show. So follow us on Twitter. All right, let's close out with this. In Prince William County, and we're including Champ and Freedom South Riding, who's the coach of the year?
I'll go first. I mean, in my opinion, it's got to be Daryl Overton for Freedom. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Two reasons why. One is 10-0, and number two, they planned his schedule to play Riverbend and Stonebridge and have Week 10 off was genius. So those are two reasons why I have Daryl Overton as my coach of the year.
All right, Jason.
I'm going to go also with Daryl Overton. And Freedom's been at the top of the heap now, for several years, but it just seems something different this year. It's a different vibe. I honestly would be shocked at this point if they do not win the state championship. Jay is around the team a lot. I'm sure he could speak to the different vibes. Seems like it just, they're a lot more laser focused on achieving the ultimate goal this year. Just, from my perspective.
Yeah. My vote would be for Freedom's coach Overton.
I like Overton too. I think he's done a good job. And I think that they won't be intimidated by Oscar Smith. I do think Oscar Smith is going to beat him. So you Freedom kids, TJ Bush, I'm picking you to lose to Oscar Smith. So I hope that motivates you. I will not be upset if you beat Oscar Smith, because, Oscar Smith has their thing with superiority. But one thing before we close, I didn't mention Patrick Bryan and all the passing records that he owns. He's one of the top passers. I said he was the top in yards per game. He's close to the top. I think there's another kid, they throw it a lot, but he's also going to pick up a scholarship. So some teams are starting to, a D1, FCS or FBS, because some teams out there, some kids are starting to decommit academic casualties. So, all right, so we like Daryl Overton as the coach. So this Friday, we're going to have some more clarity. So when we come back on, whenever that is, we will know about that 8th seed, Rusty, and it should get interesting with Champ and Champ playing Freedom South Right, and so we should be able to, have a clear picture. You guys have anything else before we close? You want to shout out to anybody or?
Well, I would just like to give props to these two guys, especially the job that Justin and his crew, all of them over at Prince William Sports and Entertainment, like the fact that you guys are broadcasting, you're putting stuff out there. It's very appreciative. And then what Jay, what you do on Facebook and stuff like, this is the thing. Some people think like this is a bit. No, this is Jay being Jay, and I love it. So I just want to thank both of you guys. But I'd like you to both give plugs for one Justin for Prince William Sports Entertainment, and then Jay, talk about your realty company and how they could contact you to buy or sell a house.
All right. Well, big shout out to Joel Andrews. He's the boss. He's the brains behind the operation of Prince William Sports and Entertainment. Friday night, we've got Patriot Battlefield. My colleague Ryan Nelson will be on the call. Mm-hmm. And then as long as a Prince William team is alive throughout the playoffs, we should have coverage for you. I believe once we get to the state semifinals, we can only do audio at that point because VHSL owns the rights. But in one form or another, we will be covering the playoffs as long as the Prince William team is in it.
Justin, for the people out there that can't watch the game, or they're in a situation where they can't go to the game. Sorry, how can they find for internet the Prince William County Entertainment?
On Facebook, Prince William Sports and Entertainment. Sports is spelled with a Z at the end, so it's SPORTZ. But that's where you find us. That's where we live stream all of our games.
And if you go to Facebook and you want to see the game, whether you're traveling, we don't want you to watch the game while you're driving, or if you're in a situation where we can't be at the game. So, Jay,
I think another good thing about it being on Facebook is you can be a part of the broadcast. I like to get into the chat and make comments, so that it feels very interactive and it's live.
Right.
Yeah, we do try to shout out to all of our viewers.
Right. Jay, we're going to have a lot of people from Middleburg and Great Falls watching this episode, so I think you're going to sell at least 3 houses, $10 to $20 million. All right, Jay?
Don't call Alex Koo. Call Jay Gholson, Remax Executives, 703-517-8640.
Glenn Youngkin is going to sell, he's going to sell his house. Have you seen that castle that he
have?
There you go.
Hold on. Jay, do you want to come up with a coupon code that if they say they saw this from the Kirk and Byrd Show, if they say Kirk or Byrd, then we get a percent back or $20 or something.
but Jay, what's so if they say they saw it on this show, what kind of deal are you going to give them? In other words,
we'll negotiate. Call me first.
Okay.
I'm worried about the deal.
Call me and have equity in your house.
I don't care what deal he gives them. I want to get something back for it.
Yeah.
Hold on, Jay. Why do you care? Why do you care if they have equity in their house? If they buy a huge house, you're
buying. No, buy. Okay, that's a good
start. Oh yeah, buying. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Good credit.
Jay. And we'll close with this. Now that we've heard, this is breaking news, that Dan Snyder may be selling the Washington Commanders. Does he still need that house in Lorton? Because I really think he only bought that so he could put the team in Woodbridge and he just have like a 4-mile drive.
I know.
Would you like to help him sell that monster?
Absolutely.
There you go.
All right,
Rusty. So we'll be back on. We want to tell people that in the playoffs, we're going to revisit Loudoun County. So we'll talk about Stonebridge in that region. We got Loudoun County High School, not to be confused with Loudoun County, the whole County. And then we've got also Tuscarora in the mix. We got a lot of good Division 4 and 5. Woodgrove has a good game this weekend against Loudoun Valley. So, all right. So we'll close it out.
All right.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, check out Justin, and if you're selling or buying a house, make sure Jay, because he's giving us a kickback. You owe everybody dinner, by the way, Jay.
I know.
All right.
All right.
Guys.
All right. Thanks, guys. Hey, look, close on this. If you see any of these guys, or especially Kirk or I at any game, make sure you come up to us and just, give us feedback. And just lets us know that people are watching.
They will.
Yeah. Buy me a coffee at Darling Stadium. I waited in the line 25 minutes last time. As soon as I got to the window, they said they were out of coffee. So, all right, guys.
They've seen your show. All right.
Thanks, guys. Take care.